Back when the Eastern car was white and purple?
Nah.
No. No, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, it was. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it was.
So that must be a while ago now, even.
Yeah, it would have been easily 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Yeah, right. Fuck.
Yeah.
Is that a weird thing? Like, because you're actually quite...
Yeah.
You're still young, but like you've done it a long time already, though.
Yeah, I know I have. It's not good. It's not good, but yeah, it would have been 2014, 15 when I got in Matt's car, I think.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So you started off in Go Karts?
Yeah. Started in Go Karts when I was 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How'd that all come about? Did like any family racing prior to that, or?
Yeah, Dad raced pretty well all his life since he was about 12. I think he started racing, and yeah, just did it all his life. He did speedway for about 1 year, in street stocks or something, but didn't really like it. So he went back to go karts, and yeah, so I always went with him as a kid. And yeah, he just bought me when I was old enough. He just bought me one, and yeah, off we went.
Yeah, and what style of karting was that?
Like ADCA circuit, dirt circuit. Yeah.
And then you rose through the ranks pretty quickly in that.
Yeah, well, I never actually got out of juniors, but yeah, I stopped racing when I was about 14, I think, and yeah, just got the hang of it. And Dad always, because Dad had done it so long and everything and he wasn't bad at it. He just told me everything to do, and it didn't really feel like I had to learn anything as such. Not like when I got in the sprint car, we knew nothing, so it was all a lot, quite easy to, you just tell me and I just go do it. And that's how I learnt, so it was quite easy.
Yeah, right. So then how old were you when you got to sprint car?
16. I'm not sure how many weeks, but yeah, I started pretty early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what, straight into racing one? Like a couple of practices or?
No, I didn't do any practices at all. I just went straight out there at Speedway City. I think it was like the state title. There was only like 20 cars, or like less than that. So I went straight into the A. But I remember, because I'd only just started down the driveway here, and that was about it. And even that was sort of hard enough to sort of learn, because we didn't know nothing about them really. And yeah, just went there and started up. Didn't even give me any laps by myself in hot laps or anything.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I just remember going as fast as I could, and I thought I was going pretty good, which I probably sort of maybe was, but I remember just Matt Eagle coming past me and just missing me, and just how fast he was going, and I thought, how the hell do you go that fast? Like, I just felt like I was moving so fast, and then you see him going like double the speed. And by the end of the night, I sort of was going okay, and then sort of started to catch the back of the pack on the first night in the A, and yeah, just ended up hitting the fence because it just got faster and faster till I hit something in the end, and crashed. But yeah, that was sort of my first experience in a sprint car.
Yeah, right. Steep learning curve.
Yeah, a little bit. It was a while ago now, so it's hard to sort of remember some of it. But yeah, I wouldn't change it for the world. It was just get out there and just have a go.
So that was 16 years old. So I think probably the first time I seen you might have been about 17 at Speedway City.
Yeah. Well, the first year when I was 16, I only did about, I might have done 7 shows, I reckon. And that was it for the whole year. I don't think, I went to Weiler and the rest were at Speedway City or Murray Bridge, I think. Yeah.
So when was that Gawler Farm machinery car, or was that like...
No, way before that. I was probably raced for 4 or 5 years before I got the backing from the Rosenbergs.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so... didn't really have many financial sponsors for a long time until sort of he come along.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because I think, I can't even... That was like... So what's the Gawler Farm machinery car? That's like 10 plus years ago?
Yeah, that would have been, about on 10 years ago. I think he started helping me about 2011, 2012. I'd say 2012, I reckon.
Yeah, right. So how many years have you been in the sprint car now?
Be almost 15.
Yeah, right.
I reckon, yeah.
That's crazy. So it's almost like half your life.
Yeah,
It's pretty nuts to like think about like that, eh?
yeah, it is. Yeah, it goes real quick.
So it's sort of a steep learning curve, and then you're on fire by the time the Gawler Farm sort of stuff come around.
Yeah, I was just sort of getting the hang of it after about 5 years, and yeah, James come on board and we started travelling. Well, we're going to Victoria every weekend anyway. I like travelling as racing every weekend, but yeah, when we got to do World Series and stuff like that, it was sort of went to the next level a little bit. Tried to anyway.
Yeah, because you got No, you didn't get rookie of the year that year. You got given it to you, didn't you?
Nah, that was because who was it? Tim Kading, I think. Yeah. Then they sort of gave it to me because it was a bit unfair, but it went not too bad, and I tried to chase. Tim didn't have a very good year that year, and I sort of tried to chase him as hard as I could, and didn't quite get there.
Yeah. You obviously would miss the Speedway City days.
Yeah, definitely. Sort of. Yeah, it was like the Boxing days and that were there. That they were just unreal. The amount of people there, and they had a massive following over that side of the city. Then they don't really travel too far out to go to Murray Bridge. But yeah, every week, even if it was just a club show, and the week before maybe there was lots of track grades or all that sort of stuff, they'd still turn up the next week to come watch, even though they maybe not had the best experience the week before. It was a real hardcore group of fans and that used to be on that side of the city.
Yeah.
We don't have anymore.
Yeah, I spoke about with Matt how like you'd see like a lot of like Matt Eagle fans there. If like Speedway City was running one night and the next night was Murray Bridge, the same group of people aren't there necessarily.
Nah.
Just, which I suppose that would happen in America too. With there might be a track just down the road, but there's fans either way. Or
I guess it's like an hour and a half, and if Murray Bridge or something finishes at 10 or 11, you're getting home pretty late. So I guess you lose a fair few of them.
Yeah, it's it's a shame.
That's it.
I dearly miss Speedway City, especially on those like Boxing Day nights when it was just like absolutely packed to the hill, like quite literally.
Yeah. And Speedway City used to have quite a few big like meetings too that were name meetings that they just weren't just normal club shows. And they used to have a couple at the start of the year, then obviously Boxing Night and then a couple at the end. There was always something going on out there throughout the year.
Yeah, and then obviously like even for us, like from where I live, Speedway City or Murray Bridge is an hour away, sort of thing. So it's much of a muchness. So we've lost like those double header nights and that sort of stuff too.
Yeah, definitely. So I don't know. I'd love for something to come back because SA is really sort of hurting since it's gone, and we probably didn't realise till it was gone.
Yeah,
what it sort of meant.
You've amateur hour over here. This is why I shouldn't work on race cars. I can't even do this thing up. Yeah, well, you would have lost at least half of your sprint car shows a year now.
Yeah, sort of, which luckily I'm sort of one of the lucky ones where racing for the Starks over at Mount Gambier, sort of there in the middle, so we can just sort of pick up what we miss out on over in Victoria now, which is not too hard to get to for them and not too bad for me. So, I think Murray Bridge are going to have a few meetings this year, so hopefully that picks things up a bit.
So you've, now that you've progressed in your career and you've stepped into like that ride, you're now sort of just flying to the track.
Yeah, they do a great job of looking after everything, and I don't really have to do too much. And I've sort of been pretty lucky to get from the airport to the tracks pretty easily. And having a girlfriend that lives over there and's got family over there and everything. And back when I was driving for Matt Easton, and like his sponsor used to pick me up every week from the airport, and getting over there is not too bad. It's sort of a bit of a break. I don't mind hopping on the plane and just relaxing for a couple minutes after working as hard as we can all week. So it works pretty good driving for them and going over there.
So there's obviously a lot of trust there in them that you can rock up to the car knowing that it's all sort of squared away, ready to go for the weekend.
Yeah, definitely. Like James and his dad Jamie, like they're pretty good operators, and yeah, I got full trust when I go out there. The wheels are done up and stuff like that, and yeah, sort of pretty lucky to sort of end up with them helping me out and giving me a ride pretty consistently. And they love racing. It's sort of it's a massive hobby for them. So yeah, they love going to every meeting they can.
Yeah. Yeah, they are in a prime position for it there, really. Like, it's probably, I don't know, that sort of central-ish sort of hub for sprint car racing, really, in Australia. Like,
yeah, definitely. It's, yeah. It'd be, if you're going to start a sprint car team, it wouldn't be a bad place to have it.
Yeah. And then hopefully, like, with Bordertown on too, they're sort of like, they're like smack bang in the middle of, like, a couple of hours away to Bordertown and then a couple of hours the other way to Warrnambool.
Yeah, like Bordertown should be pretty good for everyone as well, being pretty central to Victoria. So, yeah, definitely looking forward to that being open and another track on the way.
Yeah. You picked up a win there one night in 410?
Yeah, I've been lucky to be reasonably good there most of the times when we've gone there. But yeah, finally won one there, that last meeting, so that was pretty good. And that was like the first win the Starks have ever had in their 15 years of racing. So that was, I hadn't won a race for a couple years, racing, just racing my own car back around here. So that was kind of like my first win again, because it'd been so long since I won, and we had COVID and everything, stop everything for a while, and yeah, that was a pretty big win to win at Bordertown that last time.
Yeah, it was a cool little place, and now it's it's still a cool place, don't get me wrong, but now the track's going on steroids compared to what it used to be.
Yeah, and they had pretty good dirt there too, so like that's one of the main keys why it was so good there every time, because just the way they prepared it and just the quality of the clay and that there. So yeah, really looking forward to the bigger version of it. Yeah, I think it should be wild. Like, I've said it heaps of times and I don't care, but I'm pumped for it. So yeah. So, yeah, that's it. Hopefully it doesn't take too long to come, but yeah. We'll wait patiently, I guess.
Yeah. So how did the deal come about with the Stark family?
Well, they actually asked me to drive for them a couple of years before that, and I ended up going. This was for the Classic, and I ended up. Dave Channels sort of said to come drive his car, and I actually sort of said no to the Starks and went and drove for Dave at the Classic. Yeah, so they got Chad. I think they might have had someone else in there as well for a while. Brad and Parr, I think, had to go. But yeah, they got Chad, and they stuck with Chad for a few years, and then Brad and Parr, and then COVID and all that happened, and whatever else. And I've always been friends with James and the Starks, just through getting to know them, racing all the time over there. And they asked me to come drive it, and I was sort of done driving my own stuff. It was just getting harder and harder and busier and busier with work. So I sort of wasn't really going to race much anyway. So I just said yes, and didn't really realise what it would turn into, and it's actually turned into something really good for me. And they just asked me, and I went and did it, and made it all happen, and it's turned out good.
Yeah, because you guys are always at the pointy end of wherever you're at.
Yeah, when I first got with them, we were just we went really well, and it was sort of easy at the time. Like James was getting the car really good all the time. We sort of struggled a little bit last year for whatever reason, but I think we sort of got it back on track towards the end. And this bit of a rest in the off season should help us out a fair bit. I think reset the batteries and go again. But yeah, when we first started out, we were sort of podiums. Like we got like 9 podiums and 3 or 4 wins like the last couple seasons ago. So that was pretty good.
Yeah, right. So you guys got scheduled together for this coming season, or you sort of?
Yeah, fairly well. We're just going to race around here. We sort of thought about World Series a little bit when they first said they might do something, and but then there was going to be a lot of midweek shows, which makes it real hard for all of us. So we sort of ended up we'll just race around here, and then I think we'll go to Sydney after Speed Week, I believe, maybe, and that'll be it. We'll just race around here. There's enough racing to do between here in Victoria.
Yeah. You been to Eastern Creek yet?
Yeah, I went there just before the Australian title, when it was at Brisbane, sorry. And, did a couple nights there. Yeah, I loved it. Thought it was great. And then we went up there just after Speed Week last year and got rained out 5 nights, or however many nights we were doing there.
Yeah.
Got rained out every night, so that wasn't much
there.
fun.
Yeah, it's a sick venue though, eh?
Yeah, it was unreal. Like, I wish everywhere had something like that.
Yeah, it's definitely I mean, the bitumen pits is cool until you're working on a race car and then you're getting grazed up from it. But yeah, it's still much better than a dirt patch somewhere as well. Like, it's just absolutely like astonishing venue. Like,
oh yeah, definitely. It's just so much nicer. It doesn't feel like you're racing on dirt because as soon as you come off the track, everything's nice and clean. And the tyres are all clean by the time you get back to your truck. And and I like the bigger tracks. Just everything's a little bit slower and look forward. I've sort of raced on little tracks all the time, so to go to something big is a bit of fun.
Yeah, it's pretty wide open there, eh?
Yeah, and we only sort of use half the track there most of the time. I only get halfway up the track, so if they could get it a little bit further around, I don't know. It feels like you're moving fairly well there.
Yeah, I mean, sprint cars generally do everywhere, but they certainly look it from the outset.
And they got a nice grandstand that you can sort of, you can sit, down the straights and not get covered in dirt fairly well. So, it's good watching the cars there. Yeah,
and that's like something that I've like spoken about with other people. Like, just the whole venue, like cleanliness, makes it easy for a bloke to take his missus to the speedway, which is like it's another person through the gate.
Yeah,
so it's more money like coming into the sport. It's more eyes on sponsors and everything like that. Like, it all sort of does stack up at the end of the day.
Yeah, definitely. When I went there the first time, it was like a whole different crowd of people were there because they're all dressed up, and normally you don't see that.
Yeah.
But you can there for some reason. I don't know, you just don't get as dirty. But and those grandstands are far enough up that, and there's a heap of corporate stuff, but that wasn't quite finished the first time we went there, I don't think. But and then obviously didn't get to race last time, but. Yeah, it's unreal, and I wish every capital city got something like that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm assuming from like what's been built, Bordertown's going to be on that sort of a level, like as far as construction and finishing goes and stuff. Yeah,
maybe in a few years. Yeah, we'll see how they go, but yeah.
So, what's your actual favourite track to race at?
Probably Mount Gambier is always pretty good. And I don't know, Eastern Creek was pretty good when we went there, but I've only been there a couple of times, so but definitely Mount Gambier is always, and it's like the home track for the Starks and everything, and it's just a different feel there. All their family and that goes, and a lot of friends and stuff, their friends and that, and it's always I like racing there. Yeah,
it's my favourite. Like, it's my favourite track, full stop. Like, as far as a spectator goes.
Yeah. Like, they do a good job of getting the track there pretty good. And when it is good, it's unreal.
Yeah. Old Billy's got it. He's got it pretty much nailed all the time.
Yeah, definitely. It's a fair bit of fun there when the track's just right.
Yeah. There's not too many guys who, like, prep a track. He got it wrong there one night for something, and they had to grade it, which isn't, like, very common there. And he, like, got on the microphone and apologised to the crowd. Yeah. Which is like just unheard of, like for anyone doing that in the sport. Like, he's just
No, he definitely means well and puts a fair bit of effort in. So, he takes it pretty seriously when it's not right, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's like definitely takes it personally, kind of thing. Like, he's just such a legend of the game, sort of thing. Like, you wish that a lot more places could like prep like that.
Yeah, I guess it's hard to get someone that... and Murray Bridge have been getting it pretty good like last year. They got it pretty good a fair few nights. But, I guess it's always hard to get someone consistently to do it every week, especially when it's a volunteer role.
Yeah, that's right. So, you spent a bit of time over in Perth as well, though, like a few years ago? Yeah,
I've been there at least 3 times, like as in travelled over there 3 different times. But I've probably done... 10 to 15 nights over in WA at least. I sort of loved it over there. That was always like when we did World Series and that's when you got sort of a bit of a break because there wasn't much racing on during the week over there, and you could have a bit of a relax. And the tracks, like I said, I don't mind racing on bigger stuff. So going to places like Manjimup and Bunbury and Albany. they're all big, and always just still love going over there.
Yeah, because like everyone said, there's nowhere to hide over there. Like you make a mistake on track and you just get swallowed up.
Yeah, fairly well. I don't know. There's just something about racing on the bigger tracks, just the speed and all that sort of stuff. And they're normally obviously a lot wider. So, and you sort of not like Perth, you race on the fence, but Bunbury and all the rest of them, you're sort of not quite on the fence. But so you feel like you got a fair bit of room to play if you want to pull some moves and stuff like that. So I don't know. WA is always been pretty good. It's an expensive place to race, obviously, because you wear stuff out a fair bit, and if you crash, you pretty well say goodbye to the whole car.
Yeah. Then that just comes with the speed. That's
So it's good to race on big tracks, but also not so good sometimes.
Yeah, because you've never raced in America or anything like that, have you?
Nah. I got to go over there with Steve Lyons probably over 10 years ago now, and that's the only time I ever went over there. I just went over there to help him last time we went, and but I was pretty young at the time. I was only 19, but I always thought I was going to go back and race, but never got there.
Yeah. Is it like choice or financially or?
I don't know. I've always just added up how much it costs just to fly there and fly back, and just all that stuff just to go there and back. And then I've just thought, maybe I just spend it here and just do a couple extra shows here instead of doing all that. So that's sort of why I never really pushed, and I've always had to work a fair bit for the old man. So I just never really pushed the issue on that too much. But who knows what might happen in the future? Maybe I'll go once and that'll be it. But
tick that box off.
Yeah,
because I know that there was someone I was talking to, and that was seriously considering like the money that they spend on their Australian season, taking that money to America and doing like literally double, if not maybe triple, the racing, like a much shorter period than what our season goes for, but doing more racing essentially in a shorter period of time for the same money, that they were then considering not racing the Australian stuff at all. Yeah.
It's always been something you think about. You could probably do that, but then you just always end up just staying here and racing here. But if you went for probably 2 months and just did a hyper race and spent what you're going to spend here, that's probably not a bad option, especially with what's probably been happening here without the World Series and stuff like that. So it'd probably be something you could look at.
Yeah, it's not such a sort of stupid idea sort of thing.
No.
Like, I think if you've researched it well enough to know like what you're really going to spend, because I think it's probably easy to say you're going to go over and do that, but there might be a lot of sort of hidden costs that sort of sting you as well, which is like, So
and I've never really known enough about that to really consider all the costs that would come with it.
Yeah. So you obviously learnt like a lot of your car craft and stuff like that coming from the go kart before the sprint car stuff.
Yeah, definitely. There's just it's hard to tell you what the go kart actually teaches, but we've all sort of come from that fairly well. Like Luke Dillon and Matt Eagle and Ryan Jones, and there's a heap of them from SA that have all come from that, and they're all the hardest competitors in Australia. And they've all sort of, and James McFadden's come from that. Lisa Walker's come from that. So it obviously teaches you something. It's hard to explain maybe what it is, but it's just always, I learnt how, like, the feeling of winning in a go-kart.
Yeah.
And then that's something you always chase, and that always comes from hard work. And you got to work hard to get that feeling, and you always want to chase it. So you always, with the sprint car, you're always learning and trying to make sure you trying to win, I guess. But there's all the things you need to pick up on your car, and making your car faster and making less mistakes to try to chase that feeling of winning, which you're getting to go. You learn at a young age to chase it, to try to chase that in the sprint car.
Yeah. There's been it's like such a big stepping stone that those guys have sort of come from.
Yeah, obviously we don't even race in circles, I guess. We just on a circuit, so it's not even really the same. But I don't know. Just we just sort of, just learn the racecraft and that as well, especially, when you're off the starts, the rolling start, same as a sprint car, I guess, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So as a kid, you were going to Speedway, like spectating?
Yeah, sort of Dad always loved sprint cars and Speedway, and he didn't really take me till I was about 6. And then just Dad always wanted to have a sprint car, never had the time or the money to do it. And then I sort of was just lucky enough that by the time I was old enough, he had the money and the time to sort of put into it to get it. But yeah, I just grew up watching it at Speedway City, and I never really got to watch really anywhere else but my original Speedway City. Like the first time I ever went to Mount Gambier to see the place was when I raced. So I watched a little bit, but I didn't get to travel around and watch it.
Yeah. So who do you sort of like grow up watching, like in the sport then?
I was Brooke and Max.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to love Max and that. And I always used to buy every Christmas I'd get his new hat he used to come out with, because they were always pretty cool hats back then.
Yeah.
And, wear it out till it would fall off my head basically. But Max, Brooke and Robbie and all that was, yeah.
Yeah. So did you like trip out when you like, next to them in a sprint car somewhere?
Yeah, because like they were my heroes.
Yeah.
And to get to race against them was pretty good, and try to beat them and stuff like that. But I guess that, I don't know, that sort of goes away a little bit.
Yeah.
After a while, but yeah, I don't know. I remember racing. It was like the Australian title at Speedway City, and it ended up being rubber around the bottom. And I just remember just driving next to Max for lap after lap, because I had my left rear in the rubber, and then he had his right rear, so we're just sort of running next to each other for lap after lap, and I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, I only finished about 10th or something, but yeah, it's cool to get to race against all those guys and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, because then like it sort of gets to a point where then you're one of those guys.
Yeah, a little bit. I wouldn't call myself anything like that. I haven't really won as much as what I'd like to have, but I guess maybe some kids maybe think that, but yeah.
Yeah, it's weird, like the generational sort of thing, and you get to cross over like that too. It's not like there's like a hard stop in it anywhere where it then starts to like the next guys that come through sort of thing.
Yeah, for sure. There's one person I wish I got to race against. I never quite got to, but that was Steve Kinzer. That would have been unreal. I've raced against Donnie and stuff like that, but sort of just missed out on racing against Steve.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Because he would have... When did he finish?
It was about 2010, wasn't it? Or?
Yeah, something like that.
Maybe, no, it might have been a bit longer
maybe
than
a little bit later than that,
Yeah.
I was trying to think to what the last car was that he had.
I reckon it might have been the East Coast Pipeline one, maybe, out here.
Yeah. But even like his last American car.
Oh, yeah. I don't know,
Yeah, I'm trying to think, because that was... Yeah, I can't remember, because then Tony packed that car up, like, completely.
Yeah.
Like, no one's sort of really gone into that since. Well, yeah. Because that was, the 11, yeah. Yeah, I can picture it, but I can't picture, like, what the the sponsors on it were or anything like that.
Yeah.
Oh, it was that buggy company. Who make the, like, quad thingos.
I can't quite remember who they are now, but...
Bad Boy.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
That would have been, like, his last car. So that's going back a fair way now. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but I just wish I got to race against him, but not quite. He was just mainly stayed in Sydney, I think, when he come over most of the time, but yeah.
Yeah. So is there anyone that you actually, like, you like racing, anyone? Like, I know that, like, Luke and Matt and stuff like that, they've said they all like racing each other from the respect that they have racing next to each other. They know that they can race hard and fast. And
yeah, I don't know, because we get to race against each other every week. I kind of feel like, I do like to race against them, I guess. But, that probably, any time you can go past Luke or Matt, Eagle and stuff like that, you're pretty happy about it.
Yeah. So you like racing against them though?
Yeah, for sure. If I had to line up against all them, they'd be the ones you want to beat.
Yeah. You've spent enough time racing around them, you sort of know.
Yeah.
There's no one's doing anything on purpose or anything like that. They're all pretty respectful on
that's
track.
It.
Right.
There's been points there where every crash you're in, you look over and maybe it was Matty or someone. There's been points like that where we've crashed into each other a lot. But I don't know, like I've raced against Steve Lyons like all my life and never touched him. We've never crashed like into each other, but it's just crazy how, he's just such a clean racer and stuff like that. You can race against them people, like all the guys that are clean racers like that for all year and you won't touch them. It's funny, but then there's other people you just crash into all the time. It's funny how it works.
Yeah, he's a pretty feared sort of guy in a sense, isn't he, Steve?
Yeah.
Like hard and fast, and he seems like very, like, from looking from the outside, he looks like he's very shoulders up, like chest coming through kind of guy. Like,
definitely. I don't know. He's just got so much natural talent, really. Steve does. It's hard to beat him at times. Yeah,
and he's like a guy that's come from like the other end of the spectrum to you. Like he's come through like juniors and then streeties.
Yeah, all the speedway stuff. Yeah,
which is like it blows my mind, like the trajectory that some like the guys take from coming from like karts to like sprint cars, and then like obviously America's like a big stuff, the outlaw car stuff to sprint car.
Yeah, they sort of start off in open wheel stuff all their life. Yeah, so it's, I don't know if I'd say it's easier or harder, but it's definitely a lot different in Australia.
Yeah, because you can't imagine you can take anything from a street stock to a sprint car.
Nah.
It's not.
Other than looking at around circles all the time.
Yeah.
It's about it.
Yeah. No, it's a I don't know, it's a weird thing, isn't it? Like, yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to explain, I guess, but yeah.
And no other like form of racing has sort of taken your fancy? Like...
No, I did. So I raced go karts from 6 to I was about 14. Then I went and did a couple years in motocross. And that was probably the funnest sort of racing I've done all my life, really.
Yeah.
That was because there was no pressure. I was never going to win anything in motocross, but yeah, just went and did that and raced every weekend and did that with Dad and my friends. So that was pretty good. And that's just another hardcore sport. And I just thought I was going to have a bike all my life and just love riding. I've sort of rode since I was a kid. But yeah, I sold the bike and everything now, and sort of doesn't really interest me too much going to ride. But just did a bit of motocross and just straight into the sprint car.
Yeah, right. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
You did the challenge thing on TV, didn't you? Was that you or not?
Yeah, that was for the bitumen thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
was that on Fox?
No, it wasn't on TV or anything, but I did like the Australian driver search or whatever it was. That was a couple of years ago, you just had to go out to the bend and I drove Toyota 86 and a V8 Ute and like an old V8 supercar. And then they just sort of gave you points and it was good enough to be able to go to the final. I was never going to win anything in that. That was, driving against some pretty hard drivers, but and I've never driven on really bitumen at all in my life, but it was sort of just like driving a go-kart, I thought. I don't know. It was a good fun day doing all that stuff, but it wasn't on TV or anything. But and I actually had, when I was in the V8 Ute, I had Adrian Cottrell in the passenger seat, and I think the tyres were getting pretty old on it and everything, and I was going around one of the sweepers at Tail and Bend there and spun the thing out going super fast. So lucky we didn't crash the thing, but that's a pretty funny story.
So that's about as far as you've done into anything else? Yeah,
pretty well, yeah.
So there's not anything else that you want to like race or sort of tickles your fancy?
No, I don't think so. I mean, the TA2s or whatever you call them, they probably be alright and stuff, but no, I'll just stick to the sprint car for now.
Yeah, you don't want to jump on a late model or a midget or anything like that?
Nah, I guess no. I mean, I sort of just concentrate on the sprint car for now. The midgets would probably that'd be cool because I feel like it'd be just like driving a go-kart. But I don't know. I'll probably, they're pretty dangerous, so I might stay away from them. But
they are pretty wild. Yeah, that is the sort of the downfall of them as such, sort of thing. But
it is a little bit. They're awesome cars. I've been to the Australian title a few times at Murray Bridge and when they've had it there and stuff, and always go watch them. It's pretty cool, and there's a pack of there's a whole field of them.
Yeah, when the like the caliber's good of them, like any category really.
Yeah.
They're up there. My actual dead set favourite is non-wing 410 sprint car.
Yeah.
watching that one flow like every weekend that's where it's at for me.
Yeah, I got to see a little bit of it when I was in America, but it was sort of just a club show or whatever when I was over there. But yeah, they're pretty cool, and they're sort of a fair bit slower, I guess, than the wing cars. So on the track I've seen them anyway. So yeah, that'd be cool to drive.
Yeah, they're like, to me they're like wild. That's like the wild version of like sprint car racing as such.
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
thing. Like, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be good. It'd be good to see something like that out in Australia, just to see what it'd be like out here.
Yeah, I've had that discussion, so I'm not going to go down that road again. Yeah, because I don't know. I don't know. It's such a weird thing that we don't have it. But
yeah.
Would you drive? So some of the other guys who drive winged sprint cars have said if they had a V8 wingless, they'd drive both in Australia. Would you be one of them?
Maybe. No, I can't say if I would or wouldn't, but yeah, it'd be good to have a go. Yeah, I've driven a wingless a couple of times. My sister used to have a wingless and stuff, but yeah, they're obviously got no power.
Yeah.
They sort of feel like they've got a wing on them because they got no power, and they sort of, just the way they are with no power, they feel like they've got a wing a little bit. I sort of felt when I've drove them, they don't spin the wheels or anything hardly. So yeah.
Yeah, I've had some heated discussions, especially on Facebook of all places, standard, with about the V8 engine in our wingless, and yeah, there's like a massive people for it and then massive not for it as well. So
yeah.
It seems like such a weird thing, but yeah, it's probably easy for me to comment because it's not me spending money to to do it. So
nah, but yeah, I don't know. The cost probably wouldn't go up that much, really. I wouldn't have thought if I had one of those LSs in there, and they go pretty good too. So I had a go in one at the 360 title or the Pro Sprint title at Muybridge, and those motors go pretty good. It'd be good to see them in the wingless, really.
Yeah. So obviously there's a lot of those motors are popping up in Victoria now. They're sort of taking over that essentially what was 360s.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's a great thing, really. The cost of a 360 is ridiculous. Like, yeah, it doesn't really make much sense, but I guess everyone's still owns them, so they got to keep them going, I guess, for now. But yeah, it'd be good to see more of them, and sort of help us sell our parts to that class as well.
Yeah, I think like it's a great thing that like they're, as long as they can control it the way that they are currently and it doesn't get out of hand, then it will be it'll grow. But if it starts getting out of hand, like I think like Peter Morris, I don't know if he said it on the podcast or off of it, but he said as soon as they start letting them make more power, well then that's when the rebuilds will come quicker on them and they will start tearing parts. But if they leave them the way that they are, then you will get those sort of 40 nights out of them.
Yeah, no, and I drove one and they got enough power, so they don't really need to make any more. And like I was sort of keeping up with the 360s a little bit, so they're a great thing, especially when the tracks are slick. Yeah, they're really good. So hopefully we see more of them.
Yeah, and that's another hot topic in Australian Speedway.
Yeah, like you don't need another class, but yeah, hopefully a few people would leave other classes to go race them and stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, imagine like something in Speedway Australia, like not getting along or some sort of drama. Seems to be the way things are going at the moment. Like,
not wrong.
Yeah, I thought World Series was for sure coming back.
Yeah, me too. I definitely thought, for sure that was back, and I couldn't believe it when it wasn't going ahead.
Yeah, the thing that I don't understand is like people are calling for the name change, like start something new, but I can guarantee you that there was people that went to Speedway City because the name was World Series, that then the next week at a regular club show weren't there because like that name just brought people in.
Oh, 100%. The name's like a massive thing, I think, because even you just tell people like World Series sprint cars and their ears pop up more than they do if you just say you're driving a sprint car. Yeah. Like it means that much it's that well known. I mean, the name doesn't really make a lot of sense, World Series.
No, it doesn't.
But everyone sort of knows it, and it's just...
It's ingrained now.
Yeah, it is. It's ingrained, and I sort of... apart from it doesn't make much sense, I hope they never really change it because it needs to stay. Like, since Speedway City sort of closed down and the World Series hasn't been around for a few years, people don't really even know what sprint cars are anymore. They don't see the adverts.
Yeah.
Like World Series used to always do like an advert.
Yeah.
And be fairly good with the social medias, and like as far as getting it to people that don't go to Speedway, like the promoters these days, they sort of more just promote to the Speedway public more than the general public, and I think they're sort of missing out on making some new fans along the lines. But
because I'm pretty sure, like even back in the day, like Speedway City just had adverts for its like regular club shows.
Yeah, pretty well.
Probably not as like heavy as the World Series adverts were. Like the World Series adverts were getting smashed, and then like you might see a couple for just a regular club show on the TV. But
but I guess also TV's changed now too. I don't know if that many people watch TV. Is it worth having a TV ad? It is, I guess, but. The whole landscape of like advertising is probably a fair bit different than it was.
Yeah, that's probably a fair point too, for what it's costing, for what you could like put into a Facebook advert. You're like guaranteed to like.
Yeah, I think people see stuff on Facebook and social medias and don't really, they see it and they just keep scrolling. They don't really think about it. Where if it's on a TV or something, they just think about it for a second. Yeah. And I think that's half the battle sometimes. You can advertise all you want on social media, but it doesn't really. People just keep scrolling and don't really think about it.
Yeah. Have you ever noticed that like every fourth thing you see on Facebook's an advert?
Yeah, it's getting pretty bad.
I actually took notice of it the other day, and I was like, every fourth thing is like, it's like no wonder people are sort of doing away with it, sort of thing.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Like at the same time though, you can like literally like select your target audience too with the advertising on it too though, compared to running a TV advert, which you've probably got some idea as to what the viewer would be depending on what the program is. Yeah. But you can literally like select just all male demographic between 18 and 25 and just like pay to advertise in that bracket of like people or. Yeah,
it's pretty good how you can do that, and obviously pretty cost effective, I would have thought, because it doesn't cost. I don't think it costs that much to do that, but I think whatever the Perth Motorplex and that were doing for the Australian title, I think that was pretty good with the free to air thing. But on the whatever platform it is, the digital channel, I guess you call it, that worked pretty good, I think.
Yeah. It's such a hard like product to put on free to air TV though.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
It's such a long thing to happen.
Yeah,
and then like, oh hey, we're doing a track grade. Like, how do you like?
Yeah,
as much as I want to see the sport grow and get bigger and stuff like that, it's like, how do we like show the average like person sitting at home like, hey, this is what happens. Like,
I guess
it's such a hard product.
Yeah, I guess you need someone with a microphone with a camera walking around talking to. Or showing everyone the trucks and stuff like that, I guess, in the breaks. But, I forgot what I was going to say now. Something about the TV, but, yeah.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, like, with the, like, regular fans going to Speedway, it's like that money's sort of guaranteed coming through the gate. It's
That's
like,
right.
We need, like, those sort of casual fans that are, coming, maybe a couple of shows a year or once a year. Like, you need to get more of those people in the gate.
Yeah, for sure, and that's what like Speedway City and that used to have. They used to have like everyone would just go for one night a year.
Yeah,
and that they had that following of they'd go one night a year, and that was the night where they just don't go at all.
Yeah, they talk about like we said. I've like bumped into people like at work and wherever and stuff. And we used to go to that, and it was like, well, why don't you go anymore, man? It's like, I don't know. We just used to go to that one night. Like,
Boxing night, everyone knew that as Speedway night. And there wasn't too many people that didn't, because they'd see the adverts and that on the TV and the paper and everything, so everyone sort of knew there was only cricket and the Speedway, really. Yeah,
well, I know where I'll be going.
Yeah.
I can't stand cricket.
That's it.
That and AFL, I'm happy to say it.
Yeah.
I don't care. So,
that's right.
Yeah. So where do you picture the career going from here?
Don't know. I'll just keep doing what we're doing now, and if I still think I can win, I guess I'll keep doing it for a while. But yeah, it's not an easy thing to do, to keep racing and spending money and whatever else, and try and keep up with the kids and that. But yeah, I got a pretty good thing going with James and Jamie Stark, and I'm sort of real happy doing that for now. So let's keep doing that, and let's try and win some races on the way if we can. But give it our best shot.
So, do you do anything for fitness?
Yes and no. I have been trying to lately, but I just used to ride my motorbike a fair bit. Yeah. That's pretty good fitness. But I don't know. When you race a fair bit through the year, that's the best fitness you can get anyway. But I'm sort of just need to work on a bit more strength a little bit, I guess. And then the sort of fitness is not too bad, but it's like anything. If you're mentally strong enough, if you get a little bit tired, you can sort of fight through it a little bit. But I sort of could be a little bit fitter at times, I guess.
Yeah.
A little bit stronger, but I'm trying to do that at the moment. That's why it's good to have a bit of an off season, so you can do those sort of things, because otherwise you just end up working all the time and don't make enough time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny how like the young guys coming through have sort of changed all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, for sure.
Like they're all they're gym rats basically.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's always been, when you're running your own car, it's always hard because you need to work 100 hours a week to pay for it, and then you need to work another 40 hours a week working on the car. Yeah. So there's no time for anything. So it's some of the younger kids at the moment, they've got a pretty good deal going where they mainly just drive. So they got a lot more time to work on that sort of thing, which helps them a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's one thing that like a lot of people don't ever see is the hours that go in like between meetings. Like,
oh yeah, it's crazy. You can spend heaps of time on these things, like just all the preparation of when you crash, you got everything built up and all the spares. That's where all the time a lot of the time goes, is just having all your spares and that all the time. But you can be real pedantic on these things and clean the hell out of everything and make sure everything's 100% and check every nut and bolt. And that's sort of what you should be doing, because it's hard enough to win a race, to let alone be so close and have something stuff up on you, a bolt come loose or anything. So we always used to spend a lot of time in the shed, because if you ever got the chance to be close to trying to win a race and something like that happens, it's not very good. So you always put in the extra time. Yeah.
So how handy are you on the car yourself?
I used to be not too bad, but these days I'm pretty useless. Yeah. But I was back when we were doing it all ourselves, I used to have to do most of it. So but I've had a lot of good help along the way, as far as like we used to have, obviously Brad Leffy put in a massive amount of work here, the amount of hours he would have done here, just helping, and every Sunday he'd come here and wash, and then spend a bit of time through the week here, and also like Trent Duncan and people like that I've had along the way, and Dallin and Stevenson and stuff like that. They'll always show up here every Sunday to help. That's the main day. Everyone wants to come and help you, but Sunday's the day when you need it the most to get washed up and get prepared for the next one.
Because you're like the same age as Brad, aren't you?
He's a couple of years older than me,
Yeah, because I remember like one night at Speedway City, I think I was talking to both of you, and I was like just blown away by the age of like you guys, and like what you're doing, racing wise, was like would have to have been youngest crew chief in Australia, I'm assuming at the time.
Oh yeah, he's pretty young.
Even probably still now, he's probably still like one of the youngest guys running around doing it. Like
me and Brad have got a pretty cool story really. Like he used to help me in Go Karts, and then took him a few years, but then started coming to help me on the sprint car, and once he was finished his apprenticeship and stuff like that, working, and we sort of learnt together. So like we just spend hours in the year trying to figure out how to make it go faster and stuff like that, and just learnt as we went. And then we went and did World Series, and we had a few people help us, like experienced crew chiefs along the way, and had people like Craig Bennett, and who else have we had? Pete Caporn and stuff like that, and me and Brad have just both learnt off them, and Brad's gone on to sort of finish up working for me and gone on to do some really good things. And yeah, he's one of the best in the country for sure.
Yeah.
He's real particular on everything, and like a lot of 1%ers, he just nails them fairly well.
Yeah, because it's just the age thing at the time, like, and probably even still now, like, it's not like you're like an older guy of racing sprint cars. Like, you're older than some, but you're still like...
Yeah, like when we did World Series the first year and that, like I was maybe 21, and he was obviously like 23, 24, maybe 25. I don't think he was that old, but and then also, Trent Duncan come with me. He was the same age as me. So it was like, we're all under 25, and we're just, like, we went 2 months really without work, and we're just travelling around racing. We were just all young. And, we're pretty well behaved, really. And
pretty
all that
well.
back. We were pretty good. All we cared about was racing back then. I think, it's probably play off a bit more now than what we would have back then. But, it was pretty cool back then to be so young, to be just travelling around with your friends racing. That was a pretty cool experience, and something I wish I could go back and do.
Yeah. So him not being a crew chief, like, per se, prior to that, obviously was probably a pretty big thing to like go with the sprint car in the sprint car world anyway. Like,
but I guess he was keen to learn, so he was just doing the best that he could, and like that was pretty good at the time. Like he was full concentration. He still is now. Like when you're doing World Series and you're trying to get really good at sprint cars, you need to wake up thinking about it all day, and then go to sleep thinking about it. That's what we used to do, and that helps a fair bit. And that's what Brad's like that too. So he's one of the best, I reckon. Yeah,
and obviously you had a very like open relationship, like as far as car stuff goes. Like he'll tell you, and like you'll tell him stuff like that too. Like
100%. Brad's really good to talk to, and he'd never really blame me for too much, and I'd never blame him for too much. So we always got on really good, and just figure things out if things weren't right. That was what we used to do.
Yeah, you need the trust there.
Yeah.
So, and now obviously you've got that like rapport with the Starks.
Yeah. James is pretty well the exact same as Brad, really. So they're both very similar in all that. So sort of been pretty lucky like that.
Yeah.
Me and James get along real good. He doesn't really blame me for much, and I never blame him for anything. So that's the best way to go about it. Is just work things out, and don't need to get too angry at each other for anything. So it doesn't make anything better doing that.
Yeah. So how like sort of involved with the setup of the car are you?
Nowadays, James has pretty well got it under control. We don't, probably hurts us a little bit sometimes, but because I used to know everything, what was in the car, and if I went out on the track and I was like, I don't think we've got the right setup for this track because it's changed or whatever else, that sort of hinders you a little bit mentally. So I tried, when I started driving for the Starks, I didn't even really know what was in the car half the time, and just go out there and drive. And that worked pretty good for a fair while. But I think after a while, if you're sort of struggling a little bit at times, that hinders you a bit as well. So I just if the car's not going, how we'd like it, we sort of talk a bit more, obviously, and I sort of know what's in the car. But if everything's running all right, I don't really worry about it too much. So James has got it pretty covered. Yeah,
it's such a big thing, the mental part of it, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it's hard. It's easy to get down in this sport for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when you go with high hopes, some of the time or all the time, and then it doesn't quite work out sometimes. You get pretty down about it. So, it's something I sort of work on a little bit. Is, trying to make sure I'm confident. When I'm confident, I sort of seem to keep going all right. Yeah. But if I get down, I sort of have a bit of trouble sometimes.
Because you're never like not strapping in, like I'm just here for the night kind of thing. You're like every time you've like put the helmet on, you're like I'm winning this.
Yeah, you try to, yeah. It's always a lot harder these days, but yeah, that's what you try to do for sure.
Yeah, so that's like the natural racer inside of you, sort of thing.
Yeah. It's a good feeling to win. So I mean, you don't win a lot in sprint cars. It's pretty hard to win, but even if you can, be happy with your result, it's a good feeling, and you're always trying to chase that feeling.
Yeah, it's such a there's definitely the ups and downs in the sport, and
yeah.
I can't say I've ever seen you have like a big crash or anything like that though.
Yeah, I've been through patches and that. Obviously, when you're young, you have a couple, but not real big ones. But I've sort of only had one decent one that I'd call decent, and that was at Perth Motorplex one night. But yeah, I've been pretty lucky. I haven't had any huge ones.
Yeah. Like none of that's what I mean. Like I can't say that I've ever seen any of that. Like I've been there, just like with this sort of thing.
I've gone like 2 or 3 years like without like bending a top wing at times.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Like the whole time I drove the V88, all I did was knock the front end out of it. That was it.
Yeah, right.
Never even touched the top wing ever. Well, I think 1 or 2 got bent, but that didn't roll over or anything. But yeah.
Yeah, right. So you've actually like been in some sort of iconic cars in Australia, really, like with Matt Easton and then Dave Challenger's car.
Yeah, for sure. That Matt Easton is a very iconic car, and so is the 45.
Yeah, I remember Matt used to have like the greatest. I think I still got it at home somewhere. He had like the white hat with the pinstripes on it when that was cool. And then
I reckon I remember that. But
it just went out of fashion like really quick. I think like Flat Peaks was coming, and then it was like game over for all that sort of stuff. So
yeah, that's it.
Yeah. All right, Daniel.
All right, no worries.
Thanks very much, and we'll see you see how this season goes, and
yeah, see how we go. But no, thanks for having me on.
No dramas. Cheers, man.
Thanks.